There's a power within you. It lifts your life to its highest level. It brings happiness, companionship, health, success, and peace of mind. As you tap into this power, it will respond to you because this power is within you. And that's why spirituality rocks. I'm your host, Janine Burns, and I teach practical spirituality. Welcome to the show. I have a very exciting episode for you this week. Via phone, we have with us the Rev. Dr. Frank Zamalin of the Awakening Ways Spiritual Community out in Tuscadero, California. And via Skype, we have the Rev.Jean Sweet from the Helena Center in Montana. And she will be speaking to us on what I figured out so far. So get ready for a fantastic show. And right now, I'd like to introduce to you Barbara Grimminger. She's a practitioner. Barbara Grimminger is a practitioner with the Center for Spiritual Living who teaches practical spirituality. She is a licensed practitioner, and so she knows all about New Thought and affirmative prayer. Tell the people a little bit about New Thought so they know what we do on our show.
Well, hello, and thank you for having me again.
Well, hello and welcome.
New Thought is based on the idea that there is only one life, and that life is God. And so if there's only one life, we're all part of it. And practical spirituality teaches us that there are tools that we can use to make the most of our relationship with this one life.
To connect with this presence, one presence, one power, in and through all of life, anywhere, and
Absolutely.
in and through us.
Correct. And we were created to be able to co-create with Spirit. Spirit creates from thought to thing, and we have been implanted with that same co-creative ability.
Yeah, fantastic. And you know, what is important for people to know, this is not the traditional definition of God. God is the energy, essence, and presence and power that underscores all of the universe, that expresses in you, through you, and as you. So it doesn't matter if you call it spirit, infinite intelligence, divine love, whatever you choose to call it. Yeah.
That's one of the things we teach in New Thought is to try to expand your definition of God and have as many ideas about what God is as you can think of. Always expand it, make it more than you thought it was, because it's all powerful, all knowing, all loving.
And all action.
Right, and if we try not to limit ourselves to those traditional ideas about God.
Right. No anthropomorphic God up in the sky.
And no punitive aspects
no
to it at all,
God,
nothing like that.
Yeah.
It's all good.
It's all good. I like that. It's all
Yes.
good. Well, let's get our guest on the phone. I
like a
love
plan.
this guy. I like to call him El Presidente because he used to be the president of the affiliated New Thought Network. And he is the Reverend Dr. Frank Zamalin. This guy is genius. He's been on the show with us a couple of times before via Skype. Today we welcome him on phone from Tuscadero, California, Dr. Frank Zamalin. Hey.
Hey, how are you doing today?
Fantastic. Good to have you with us.
It's good to be here again.
Good. Here's your question. What spiritual truth or spiritual idea have you been focusing upon lately?
Well, this is going to sound a little bit strange, but it's been the spiritual principle of light.
Light.
Yes.
Not strange to me, Frank, because I've been doing the same thing. Tell us more.
Okay. I've been doing a lot of studying of the Gnostics lately, and the Gnostics were a group of people in the Middle East who really predated Christianity, but Jesus absorbed many of their teachings and shared their teachings, and they always taught that the soul was light, and that their form of meditation was to get past everything in the conscious mind and to keep moving deeper and deeper and deeper until you encountered the light within you. And I was reading recently an article about the nature of the Big Bang, and what they said they had discovered was that in a fraction of a second before the Big Bang occurred, there was a light. That the light came before the Big Bang itself, which would be, when we think about Genesis, God said, "Let there be light." That was the first action that occurred, and it's the first action that occurred in the Big Bang. And so I began thinking more and more about that, contemplating light, contemplating what we mean when we say enlightenment. And so I've really been focusing a great deal in my life on this idea of light as a spiritual principle, and the light within each of us and coming from each of us, and how we share the light with one another.
Fascinating. Well, I've been thinking, everywhere I look, everything I've been reading lately has been bringing me to light, Dr. Frank. And what I've been doing is visualizing light. What I'll do is when I stand in the shower, I visualize that the water coming out of the shower is light, and that to me represents the energy and power of spirit and just washing away any negativity or anything unlike the light of truth. And then as I go throughout my day, I visualize and I say, the light of God surrounds me, the love of God enfolds me. And so how do you do visualizations such as that? What have you been doing?
Yes, I do. In my meditations every morning, that's been a meditation that I've been using, which is one of the primary Gnostic meditations, actually. And that is, as you begin your meditation and you've worked with your breath and you let that go, then you begin to go deeper and deeper within yourself. And you move beyond your thought. You discover where the thought is coming from, which is nowhere. And once you move past that, you come upon a light. And it is getting to the light and then holding the light as the focus for your meditation. And that's been a really powerful meditation for me lately. And I do also visualize the light within me and the light within others as I do my mental namaste to people.
Yeah.
And that has been really powerful for me as well.
That's awesome. Now, when Frank, of course, says the mental namaste, namaste means there's a place within you and a place within me, and together we are one. So it really is saluting the divinity. When I'm in that place in me and you're in that place in you, we are one. Well, you know what? There's a website called thestarlink.net, and I have looked on that because they have an actual visualization of a star, because the star represents light. Or if you go on Facebook, there's something called Revolution by Light, and what they do, and we've talked about it on the show, they have you visualize an ocean of light above your head. Imagine it coming down through the crown of your head, filling up your whole body and just radiating out from you. So what I do often is throughout the day when I think of somebody, let's say I'll think of my producer here, Tommy. As I think about him, I will visualize him in light. And I know that that is bringing the conscious awareness of the presence and power of God to him. And so that's what we can do as spiritual beings to support one another.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
And when I'm doing treatment work for someone who has a physical issue,
Which, by the way, treatment work, we need to just, excuse me, Dr. Frank, we need to know, treatment work means affirmative prayer. For those who don't know, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Affirmative prayer is simply the form of prayer that we do, which is to hold the truth for who that person is. That if we are all one with the divine, if the divine fills all of us, then the truth of us must always be perfection. And so whenever anyone has a condition in their life, our job as practitioners is to move into the truth for them, know for them the truth, affirm the truth, that they are already perfect, and that whatever the condition is in their life has no reality in the divinity that they are.
Right, because facts change, but truth never change. Truth never change, but facts change. And so, and then that is the job then when you do affirmative prayer or of the practitioner. I just had a young lady took a fall down the stairs, and she called me. And I'm praying and affirming and knowing that every cell, every muscle, every tissue of her body is being renewed, renourished, and revitalized through the power within her, the infinite intelligence that is doing its natural work. And of course, I'm visualizing her in light, and not disregarding the appearance, because we can get stuck in facts, we can get stuck in appearance, and it can just really bring us down. So that's why we always
One of the when you talk about the spiritual truths you've been focusing on, one of the things that's been coming up for me a lot lately is, like when you're talking about someone who has a physical issue, it seems like we agree more with that than we do with the power of the one healing action. It has the power to transcend the known limits of man in medicine.
Absolutely.
And when you talk about light, it brings it to another level, because yes, you use every material means possible, and then you release it and you let the one power take it over and do what it knows how to do.
Right. And I love this idea that you brought to the show today, Frank, because you can visualize light. I mean, you can visualize a star, you can visualize the sun, you can do it. I mean, it's a wonderful tool. Right. Well, I just want to thank you so much for joining us today. Any words you'd like to leave with us? Oh, you know what I want to mention is the conference.
Oh, yes.
Tell us the title of the conference.
Oh, boy, I don't have it in front of me.
It's Play and Pray.
I
It's
don't
Play
know.
and Pray in Divine Nature.
Pray and pray, yes, in divine nature.
And this is going to be the affiliated New Thought Network, and it is the second week in April. We're all going down to Atlanta, Georgia, and believe me, we do know how to play and we know how to pray. So
That's right.
we invite you to go to the website newthought.org, and that website will tell you lots more information about it. Dr. Frank Malin, Awakening Ways Spiritual Community. You can check out more of Dr. Frank at awakeningways.org, awakeningways.org. And we thank you for joining us today from Atascadero, California, Dr. Frank Somelo, for being with us on Spirituality Rocks.
Bless you. Thank you, Dr. Jean. We'll talk soon.
Fantastic. So you know what I wanted to talk a little bit about today, before we go to our commercial break, is this idea that power flows to the focus of attention. That's a spiritual truth. It's a spiritual principle.
Yes.
Power flows.
Well, it's true on the practical level, too. I remember in driver's ed, the teacher would put the monitor on,
Right.
and he would say, look at the curb or look at the person crossing the street, and sure enough, you would drive right towards that person.
Exactly.
So you go where your attention goes.
You go, I love that. You goes where attention goes. So, and the only thing we have total control over is what we think. The thoughts we hold, the thoughts we nurture. Our mind is like a garden, and we co-create with God. And so our mind is like the garden, and our thoughts are the seeds. And we nourish the seeds, we water the seeds with our focus and attention, and we cultivate them with action. And by the way, our special guest on Skype today, Dr. Jean Sweet, Rev.Jean Sweet, from Helena, Montana. Years ago at the affiliated New Thought Network conference, she gave the most stupendous talk explaining how the mind works like a garden. So I love that analogy. And so thoughts held in mind reproduce after their kind. And so a wonderful tool to help create an experience in your life is to write it down. That's
Definitely.
why people are taught to journal, write it down.
Yes.
And when you write it down, you have to think about it, and you have to become pretty specific, right? And also, when you write it down, you're actually moving energy in that goal. You're setting the creative law in action.
Yes.
I'll tell you a story. This is a true story. It was of a young man. He was 12 years old, and he decided he wanted to be a film director. He wanted to be a film director, and it was his dream. Day after day, he'd dream about it. He wrote about it. He kept journals, and he would say, I'm a world-famous film director. I direct films that are adventure films. I direct films that are impactful. They make a difference in the world, and I'm successful, and I'm known around the globe. And every day he would think about it, he'd dream about it, and he'd write it down. And so when he was about 17 years old, he had his first visit to Universal Studios. So he goes to Universal Studios, and he's on the typical tour that they take you on, where they show you the TV shows, and the actors come out and they do a few skits or some movie projects, and he's going along. But this is not the action that this guy is interested in. Right. So he sneaks off this tour, and he goes in the back of the lot, and he's checking it out, and he's visiting all different. He's watching, he's meeting people, and he is just absolutely loving it. And so he goes home that night, and he writes in his journal, and he says, I am a successful film director. The next day, he borrows a suit from his dad. He gets a briefcase. What does he put in it? Peanut butter and jelly sandwich. He puts in it an apple, and he puts these plastic letters. So he shows up at the film lot, this 17-year-old kid. He walks in like he owns the joint. He goes right past the guard at the gate. He just walks in. And he goes to the back of the lot, and he looks for this abandoned trailer that he had found. He puts his briefcase down, opens it up, takes out the plastic letters, and puts them right on the door of this abandoned, and you know what he puts up there? Steven Spielberg, director. It's a true story. Steven Spielberg, director. And you know what's so exciting is when you think about him, is what happened is that he hung out there over the summer. He made friends. He helped out wherever he could. And after a while, frankly, they didn't have the heart to kick him out. They said, you can stick around, kid. Well, it was 3 years later that he received a 6-year contract to produce films. And think about it.
Amazing.
Amazing. Jaws, E.T., Jurassic Park, all set records during their time for box office attendance. Then he won an Academy for, what did he win an Academy for? Schindler's List. And I think it was Saving Private Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
And he made all these amazing movies. Mm-hmm. Why? Power flows to the focus of attention. And then our natural inheritance from the universe is ideas. The universe gives you whatever idea that you require to complete a task. You just have to turn on and tune in every day. That's why we're always emphasizing affirmative prayer, affirmations, and meditation.
Right, and the ideas are complete. Whatever idea you have, everything connected to that idea is with it. The money, the mentors.
Yeah, we don't always know that, though.
We don't always know it, but that's why we practice, because
Right.
we train ourselves to know it and to trust. You know, we have to
That bears
trust.
repeating. That bears repeating that when you have an idea, with that idea comes everything necessary for its
Right.
completion and
Right,
manifestation.
Spirit does everything
Yeah.
in completion.
And the thing is, though, and what's important to know is you don't have the divine idea today that you're going to need next week. Spirit is all about the now moment.
Right.
Whatever you need in the moment, you have. So that's important.
Right, and
So-
it unfolds in its right time.
And it
So,
unfolds-
Again, you have to trust.
I'm digging
right?
that. I'm digging that. And so I thank you for joining us this week. We're going to be back after this commercial break with the Rev.Jean Suite from Helena, Montana. And so stay tuned for more of, you ready?
ready. All right.
Spirituality rocks.
Thank you, I need a cue.
Peacefully, joyfully, I am divinely guided. Peacefully, joyfully, I follow my inner guidance. Peacefully, joyfully, I am
YesWeCare.net is a 501c3 charity that provides help to veterans and their families. Please visit YesWeCare.net and donate in any way you can by purchasing our beautiful frame prints or relaxation CDs and DVDs, even smooth jazz CDs. YesWeCare.net. Remember, our troops are on their way home. They need all the support they can get. YesWeCare.net.
Are you planning an event and want to include entertainment, but you're not sure where to turn?
Act1Entertainment.net has provided over 1,500 events with quality, affordable live entertainment at private parties, corporate affairs, festivals, bike rallies, and more. Act One will fit into your budget. They're friendly, reliable, and do all the legwork for you. They take all major credit cards. Log on to Act1Entertainment.net for a free, no-obligation price quote, or call 631-758-3505 for a brochure.
You'll be happy you did.
For professional motorcycle transport and towing, think Kickstart Fabrications Motorcycle Towing. Proudly serving all of Long Island, we feature expert handling and 24/7 service. So send a limo for your toy with Kickstart Fabrications Motorcycle Towing.
Stop the truck! Stop the truck! Thank you. Peacefully, joyfully, I am divinely guided. Peacefully, joyfully, I follow my...
Welcome back to Spirituality Rocks. This is my co-host, Barbara Grimminger of the Centers for Spiritual Living in Hicksville, New York. She is a licensed practitioner. So excited to have you with us again today.
It's so fun to be here. It really
It is fun, isn't it?
It is,
We
yes.
like to have fun. It's all good. I am thrilled to have with us today the Rev.Jean Sweet. I love to call her Jeannie because she's so playful and so much fun. Jeannie just seems to suit her. May I call you Jeannie? Welcome to the show.
Only you can call me Jeannie.
Oh, okay, cool. I like that. I like that a lot. I want you to know that the Rev.Jean Sweet is joining us from Helena, Montana, where she is the director of the Helena Center for Creative Living. And she is such an inspirational teacher who is speaking to us today about what I figured out so far. Love it. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I was really enjoying listening to you guys talk, and I remember what my driver's ed teacher taught me, which I think is pretty important, and it follows what you were sharing, Barbara. I'll never forget this. He said, never drive in the opposite direction of where you are going. And actually, I think about that, but I also think that that's a pretty important spiritual truth. Don't think about the opposite of what you want or what you choose. Right. And I think that's an outstanding definition of new thought. My simple definition of new thought is when you think a new thought and you can sustain that long enough, mentally and emotionally, you will create a new experience in your life.
And you're right, though. You're right about where we sometimes think about what we don't want because we get caught up in fear, we get caught up in doubt and negativity. And so I heard you say that we need to have sustainable thoughts.
So the premise of new thought is that when you can think a new thought and you can sustain it long enough with positive emotion, and I think that's part of the ingredient, you can create a new experience in your life. And I think that is the truth. That's what I believe.
Yeah,
so I know you invited me on today to talk about what I've figured out so far. Mm-hmm. And I really want to kind of talk about what goes behind or before the law of attraction. There's an awful lot of hype about the law of attraction. Mm-hmm. And I actually hope we get to talk about the law of intention, because intention is a higher law than the law of attraction. But before we even get into that experience, before we start to talk about the law of attraction, the law of intention, I think there's 4 primary things that we need to understand. And this is what I've figured out so far.
Okay, we're ready.
Okay. The first is, it really is primary, and it has to do with the strength of your desire to thrive. That's a really important word. The strength of your desire to thrive and succeed. And thrive is a word that we use a lot at the Helena Center of Creative Living. That was my shameless plug, by the way. But thrive is a word that pretty much says it all. Thriving. The strength of your desire to thrive and succeed is paramount is paramount. And before we even think about or talk about or practice engaging the law of attraction, how much do you really want to make it? How much do you want to succeed? How strong is that desire?
That's fantastic, because I think a lot of people are just in survival mode. They just want to get by. They live in a life of drudgery rather than understanding about this amazing power and how it expresses through us. So the strength of your desire to thrive and succeed.
Right.
Okay.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And you can feel it in me when I talk about it, you can feel the energy. Literally, it goes off the charts. And that's what you want to do, is you want to send a message to the universe that is off the charts. And it needs to be consistent, not, some of the time, part of the time when you wake up in the morning, but the rest of the day. No, it has to be consistent, because the universe picks up a read, and it is always a barometer of where you're coming from. The second thing I've figured out so far is the right use of will.
The right
And-
use of will.
Of will.
Okay.
And people think that will is willpower, and that's not what I'm talking about at all. We are born with this incredible desire and energy to thrive, to succeed, and that is your will. And so when you started to grow up, will is what got you into the first grade. I know your parents drove you there too, but will is what got you into the first grade. It's what made you get on a bike and made you stay on that bicycle and fall off that bicycle and get back on that bicycle. Will is what helped you to grow up and become who you are. Willpower is often associated with deprivation and manipulation.
Yes.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Struggle.
If willpower is like,
Against
if will I have the strength not to eat that piece of chocolate cake? And what I say is eat the chocolate cake, for God's sakes, It's not, that's not what will is. And what we want to do is we want to evolve our will to the point where we get to a place which is divinely, our divine assignment, which is not my will, but thine be done. And that is the strongest, most powerful place that we can be, because in that place we are of earthly good. It's no longer this selfish kind of thing that we're working on, which I think is really the law of attraction in some ways, why we, engage it. And the law of intention is a higher law. But the right use of will, we want to get to that place where we can literally say to Spirit, that which is within us, not my will, but thy will be done. Use me. What do you need me to do now? How can I serve this world?
How can I express more of my gifts, more of my talents? So then you're saying that the right use of will has to do with your energy to thrive as you express your gifts and your talents, and you're doing, okay, I'm digging this.
It's very good.
And it is, it is inherent within us. Will is volitional. It is the energy that makes us choose and be more and become more and expand and grow and succeed and thrive. That's real. So the third thing I've figured out.
Well, wait a minute. You know what?
Go ahead.
Let's take a commercial break right now, just a brief break, because it is on the half hour. And what we'll come back and we'll do an affirmative prayer, and then we're going to get through the two other things, and we'll talk about the law of intention. And I'm so excited because this is really, this is real meaty stuff that we're doing. So stay tuned, and we'll be back right after this commercial break. You with me?
I'm with you.
With Spirituality Rocks.
Peacefully, joyfully, I am divinely guided. Peacefully, joyfully, I follow my inner guidance. Peacefully, joyfully.
Hi, my name is Dr. Tom Dow. We have a multidiscipline practice in Melville and Ronkonkoma, New York, and we treat patients with many, many different conditions, from newborns through geriatric patients with numerous different techniques. There's a technique and a type of treatment for every class of patient. We have them all here. Here's my son Thomas, also a doctor of chiropractic, working on one of our patients' cervical spine. This patient has had chronic neck pain for many, many, many years, has been to a multitude of different practitioners with little or no response. And with our specialized techniques, she has improved tremendously and continues to improve on a daily basis. We have two practices, one in Melville and one in Ronkonkoma, New York. We are a multidiscipline chiropractic office. What that means is we have chiropractors, massage therapists, acupuncturists, psychologists, all working as a team and a network of outside professionals such as orthopedists and neurologists, that we work hand in hand with to help determine what your injuries are and the best way to treat your injuries. I have the great pleasure of having my son in practice with me. We work hand in hand, father and son, to give our patients the best care possible, and a staff which is loving, caring, and you'll never have to wait at all in our office for service. Many times patients come into our office and they have what's called a soft tissue injury. Soft tissue injuries are like scars inside your body. If you've ever been cut on the outside of your body, you get a scar. The same thing happens inside of your body to your muscles and ligaments. So our job is to determine where those are, stretch the muscles, adjust the vertebra back into their correct position, and then refortify the normal structure with exercise. That's what we do best, and I hope someday you'll come see us at one of our 2 offices. Thank you.
Peacefully, joyfully, I am divinely guided. Peacefully, joyfully, I follow my...
Welcome back to Spirituality Rocks. I'm your host, Janine Burns, and with me in the studio is Barbara Grimminger. On Skype is joining us from Helena, Montana is Dr. Jean, the Reverend Dr. Jeannie Sweet. And we're going to get back to you in just a moment, Jeannie, because we love your ideas about the strength of your desire to thrive and succeed, the right use of will. But before that, now's our time to do a little housekeeping and some affirmative prayer.
Okay.
You're going to do an affirmative prayer for us on...
Yes, we're going to treat for goals today.
Let's do it.
So let's know that Spirit expresses through us by means of our goals and desires. We are one with Spirit. It co-creates with us. And we know that as we focus on our goals, our dreams, our desires, that they are complete, that they come with everything necessary for them to unfold, that the life that creates us supports us and makes the way easy and straight. We're grateful to know this, and this word is now done. And so it is.
Amen. Awesome. Awesome. That was great. Good, good. Please tell your friends about Spirituality Rocks. If you go on Facebook, you'll see there is a page, Spirituality Rocks. And of course, we're in Madhouse TV. We are on Long Island, Deer Park, Long Island. If you know of someone you'd like to be on the show, tell us on Facebook. Let us know. Let us know what you think of the show. Let us know if you have any guests. And we also invite you to tune in next week. We have Michelle Whittington is going to be joining us next week of the Creating Living Fellowship, and that's in Phoenix, Arizona. The following week, we have Jackie, the Reverend Jackie Atkins. And the Reverend Jackie has the Gold Rush Women's Conference coming up in March, and I want to tell you more about that. That's going to be fantastic. After that, we have Edwene Gaines. She is the foremost prosperity teacher. Her website, one of them is prosperityproducts.com. Edwene is very well known in the New Thought movement. She's going to be with us. The following week is Mark Anthony Lord, who, if you check him out on Facebook, is just doing really, really great work in the Chicago area. And then we have Sadar Mercer's coming on, and the list goes on and on. It's like a who's who of New Thought. I know when I tell people, they're like, how did you get that person on your show? And I said, I'm practicing the principles we teach. Of course we're getting all these fantastic people.
Absolutely
and such as the Reverend Jeannie Sweet.
They're going to be calling you to come on.
They're going to be calling us. That's right. They're going to be, we want to be on Spirituality Rocks. Oh, you're getting good at that. Better than the Sign of the Devil, which I think you made before. This is the rock and roll side. So, Jeannie, when we spoke on the phone the other day, you know what I loved what you said to me? You said, you are pre-approved. The universe says you are pre-approved by the universe, but you've got to understand the small print. And then what you said to me with the small print were these ideas that you're bringing now. The first one was the strength of your desire to thrive and to succeed. And you said you got to want it, and it's not just a casual thing. You got to really want it all day long. And then the right use of your will. meaning that you're allowing spirit to express through you as you. Not the old idea that Barbara said of you were saying deprivation and negative
Struggle,
and
challenges.
struggle. That's not will is. That's not what will is about. And now you're going to talk to us about the third point. So take it away, Reverend Jean, and tell us more about this idea.
The third point, as I shared, this is the fine print of how to attract.
Okay.
Before you even start to attract. These are the points that I think are really essential to understand. The third point is the ability to achieve unbiased clarity. And unbiased clarity means that you can, I like how what Buddhists say, to go into the interior landscape of your mind. So it's the ability to actually see and know what's going on inside of you and to not lie to yourself about anything. Unbiased clarity means to be clear and to see and know the truth. And as you achieve that, it is going to become obvious the things that you need to clean up and clear up, the thoughts and emotions that do not serve you.
Wow. Okay, so can you say what you just heard Reverend Jeannie say?
Well, the way I'm hearing it is that you spend the time evaluating what you really believe and why, and looking at your own actions, determining what's behind them.
What's in alignment?
Right. What's in alignment? Is it fear? Is it love?
Okay.
Is it a habit?
And I heard also you check your thoughts. You check your thoughts, you check your attitudes, you check your emotion. And then that brings up other things. You check about where you go. You check out who you're hanging out with. You check out your daily habits. What are you doing to take care of yourself spiritually? I mean, we take care of ourselves, mentally, or we take care of ourselves physically. But what are we doing are we hearing you correctly, Reverend Jean?
To a certain extent, yes.
Well, that's why we're checking.
These are all important components, absolutely.
Okay, so tell us, please, real clarity on that, because I want to really make sure I understand your ability to achieve unbiased clarity.
So the first part is to really be able to take a snapshot of your mind and your emotional mind.
Okay.
That's a really good way to say it, actually, a snapshot, because it's going to show you what your mind does mentally, emotionally, negative, positive. What do you think about most often? Primarily, where does your mind go? And where do you lie to yourself? Because actually we're exceptional at that. We're exceptional at deception.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Exactly what do you mean we're good at deception with ourselves?
Well, we can fool ourselves by thinking that we're really thinking the right thoughts or doing the right things, but in fact we're sort of continuing old habits and behaviors. We might have just disguised them well.
You know what?
So
I think that's
unbiased clarity means honesty.
Right.
Naked, pure, clean honesty.
Ooh, that's deep. And that's deep and that's an intense. And you know what?
But I think it's a process too, because it's not something that, it's something that takes practice.
Okay.
You need to be willing to look at it, and then you, just like a lot of spiritual practices, you try it and then you keep trying it.
Well,
doesn't always, you don't always get the results immediately, but you keep trying. And I think that a New Thought spiritual path is a lifelong thing.
Journey, yeah.
You keep learning and you keep applying.
Right. Well, I know when I began, I actually had a list. I actually made a list of things to think about instead. Because I learned, I think it was something like
really good.
Yeah, no, I would make a list I made a list and I would carry around a list of affirmations because as I became conscious, I would realize, gee, that's a negative thought. Because if we think, I think they say 60,000 thoughts a day. You have a tendency to think the same thoughts yesterday as you did the day before, as you did the week before, as you did the week before, as you did the month before. And so I would actually carry around a list. And I would think about my grandma. I would think about going out on the boat. And then I would have affirmations on there that, every day, that I'm getting better and better at swimming, or I love to play badminton. I'm a big badminton. I love it. And I would say that, my swing is getting better, but I would really monitor myself. And then suddenly I'd catch myself. And I think Reverend Jeannie's right. whereas deception, where you were thinking negatively and you really weren't aware
It's almost
that
like
you were.
you're not paying attention to
Right.
your own thinking.
Right.
What you said reminded me, I heard recently, reach for the thought that feels good. And you can, the thoughts that are in alignment and do move you forward are
Right.
the thoughts that feel good. You can tell when you're
Right.
getting off track.
Well, it's about being conscious because a lot of us
Right.
are on automatic pilot.
Exactly.
Okay, so what I heard you say then, I think I got it this time, is you take a snapshot of your mind and emotions. And one of my favorite sayings, I say this all the time, I think I made it up, feeling is the fuel that propels thought into manifestation.
Yep.
Where is the
Like the
feeling?
catalyst,
That's
yeah.
why everybody. That's why you all see. Everybody says write the gratitude journal. Gratitude, because gratitude is this tremendous energy.
Elevates you, yes.
It elevates you.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to miss anything. I'm really pumped. What's the next one, Reverend Jeannie?
So the fourth is
Yes.
your ability to control fear.
Ooh.
First one is, what's my first one?
The
What
fir-
have I figured out so far?
The strength of your
strength
desire to
of
thrive
your
and
desire
succeed.
to succeed
Oh, I
and
got them
thrive.
memorized.
The second one is your right use of will. The third one is the ability to achieve unbiased clarity. And the fourth one is your ability to control fear. If anything knocks you off your rocker, it's fear. I'm going to tell you, and right now we live in challenging times. I have to say that. There's a Chinese character that means opportunity and danger.
Yes.
Right.
And I think that this is the times we are living in right now. And there are so many things that can create fear in our life and in our body. And when we feel fear, I'm going to tell you, your mind doesn't know the difference. It doesn't know the difference whether it's a real fear, fire coming at you, or you thought about what would happen if a fire came towards you. Our ability to control fear, because fear does not help you in any way to succeed. In fact, it will take you down.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably one of the biggest problems that we have is our lack of ability to control fear. We have to take the emotion out of what we are doing and treat it like science, like a scientific experiment. This is what I choose. This is what I want. This is where I'm going. Only this. Bring it on. Bring it now.
Woo!
Well, I think it's very important. To discuss fear is very important because I think we give a lot of power to fear.
Okay.
And, you're saying control the fear, be conscious of it. But it
Conscious
really
of
has, in and of itself, it's not a thing.
Right.
And it doesn't really have power, but we give it power by getting on board with it and riding it.
Yeah, one of my favorite acronyms for fear, I don't know if you've heard this one, Reverend Jean. Some of them, everyone uses the one, false evidence appearing real. But my favorite one, Reverend Jeannie, is forgetting everything's all right. Because when
That's
you've taken the time to do spiritual practice and have gotten a new definition of God, understanding God as an energy of presence and power always with you, understanding that the power of your thoughts are creative, understanding that wherever you go, you bring your vibrational energy and you can uplift or you can squash with it. We have so much power. And realizing that when you notice you're getting into fear, that's the time to start. You know what I called it last week, Reverend Jeannie? I called it become a bathroom metaphysician. You know why? Because sometimes if fear gets you, that's the time you go into the bathroom, because it's not always easy to go, take 3 release breaths, do a release breath and go, and just push that energy out, get yourself centered, and remember that God is always with you as divine love. God is always with you as your divine ideas. And that's a technique to control fear, because if fear bites you in the butt, it's just going to drag you through the door and out the door.
Right, and it's good to remove yourself from the situation because fear tends to be really loud and be really shouting at you. And it's good to step away from it and get quiet.
Well, that's why
that's where the peace is.
That's why I'm telling you to go to the bathroom. I'm serious. Get some quiet. I know people think I'm nutty. I don't care. Become a bathroom
practical
metaphysician.
spirituality.
It's practical spirituality we're teaching you on this show, right? Exactly. And so I love that, the ability to control fear and not be consumed by it and to take your attention away. Yeah. And so, we have one more commercial break left. How about we jump to the commercial break, And then we come back, we can talk a little bit about the law of attraction. But you said, Jeannie, what is a higher law is the law of intention.
It is.
Ooh. Well, ladies and gentlemen.
Intriguing.
It's intriguing, yeah. We'll leave you with that little intrigue. We'll see you in right after these commercial break with more of Spirituality Rocks.
Rocks.
Peacefully, joyfully, I am divinely guided. Peacefully, joyfully, I follow my inner guidance. Peacefully, joyfully, I am divine.
Dad, where do babies come from?
Well, there's that big, shiny rocket ship. That's right, it's filled with babies of all kinds. And when the shiny rocket ship penetrates, Mommy and Dad goes, and when the time is just right, there's a space launch.
All systems go.
Babies of all kinds, released all over the place. Yeah, Africa. Mommy's Babylandia. That's right, it's filled with babies. After an amazing 9 months, babies. And that, son, is where babies come from.
But Jake said babies come from
Planet Babylandia.
You go,
play with us on the bus.
the wheels on the
bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. Wheels on the bus go round and round, all through the town.
For professional motorcycle transport and towing, think Kickstart Fabrications Motorcycle Towing. Proudly serving all of Long Island, we feature expert handling and 24/7 service. So send a limo for your toy with Kickstart Fabrications Motorcycle Towing.
Peacefully, joyfully, I am divinely guided. Peacefully, joyfully, I follow my inner.
Welcome back to Spirituality Rocks. I'm your host, Janine Burns. Joining me in the studio is Barbara Grimminder, who is a practitioner with the Centers for Spiritual Living in Hicksville, New York. And of course, on Skype with us is the Rev.Jean Sweet. She's from Helena, Montana, with the Helena Center for Creative Living. Jeannie, I think you've heard my spiritual jingles. They're a lot of fun.
Yes.
And what I did is I put this CD together because when I had a job just like yours, the people would ask me, I would teach them an affirmation each week, and then I'd put it to music so they'd remember it. Because thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. Power flows to the focus of attention. If you'd like this CD, if you send a $10 donation to Post Office Box 472, Woodbury, New York, 11797. Make the check out to Guiding Light Foundation. We will send you this CD. Also, if you send us a self-addressed stamped envelope, we'll send you a list of affirmations and affirmative prayers at no charge. Just send us a self-addressed stamped envelope. And so we are back right now with Reverend Jeannie Sweet and this idea. Reverend Jeannie wants to focus a little bit more on taking a snapshot of your mind. Go.
And so that was my third point that I was talking about, the ability to achieve unbiased clarity.
Right.
And one of the ways that I learned to do this, and one of the ways that I really suggest doing it, is to just pick a time during the day. Pick a time, for instance, an hour after you woke up this morning, around noon, around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and around 8 o'clock at night.
Yes.
Take a snapshot. Literally say, what was I thinking and what was I feeling? And pay attention to that, because there's serious information in that snapshot. You'll be able to see what you're thinking about and what you're feeling about. And you'll be able to see, I was focusing, I was happy, I was joyful, and I was in gratitude. Wow, I was happy, I was joyful, I was in gratitude. Wow, something knocked me off my rocker. What was that? Because I was angry, I was upset, and the joy and the gratitude was just sort of vibrating in the background.
Right.
So 4 times a day, take a snapshot of your mind and say, what was I thinking and what was I feeling? What was I doing? What was I thinking? What was I feeling?
That is excellent. I love that. And you know what I actually used to do? You just reminded me, I haven't done this in years. What I would do is when I wanted to do that, I would just go into the kitchen and turn the timer arbitrarily, just turn the timer. I wouldn't even look at it, I'd just turn the dial and I'd walk away. And when the buzzer went off, I would take a snapshot of my mind, and that's when I began to see that I wasn't the positive thinker that I thought I was, and I was able to redirect my thinking. And it is said that when 51% of your thoughts can become in the positive, then it catapults up to well over 80%.
Wow.
Yeah.
You have to think on
easily.
purpose, right?
Yeah.
Rather than passively.
We want to actively think. We want to be conscious thinkers. Yeah, yeah. And one of the things I like to ask people who are join us is, what is their favorite New Thought book? I know I have my favorites. I have a couple of favorites. What's your favorite, Jeannie?
Well, right now I'm actually at our center. I'm doing a series on Hawaiian spirituality, and this month it's called Return to Paradise. So my favorite book of this month right now is called The Secret Science of Miracles by Max Freedom Long, which was written in 1958, I believe. And he was one of the first gentlemen to actually summarize Hawaiian spirituality, which had gone hidden. It had gone behind the orchid curtain. So I really like that book. The other book that I really like that he wrote is called Growing into the Light. And I think he wrote that one earlier, but those are my favorite books of the month right now.
Cool. Well, what I'm into reading right now is Florence Scovel Shinn, Your Word is Your Wand, because I love to be reminded. And it's more of a religious than spiritual book, because she does a lot of Bible quotes and shows you the metaphysical meanings of them. Barbara?
Well, my favorite book is usually what I've just finished or what I'm working on at the moment.
Okay.
I just finished The Law of Divine Compensation by Marianne Williamson.
Oh.
Very good.
Oh.
And it relates to what Rev.Jean was saying about the law of intention having setting yourself higher than just the law of attraction, just what you want in the moment, but how God can use you to use your gifts, your abilities, your skills to advance not only yourself but the world around you. So I really like that.
Yeah,
it's good.
And actually, Jeannie, Reverend Jeannie, you wanted to talk a little bit more about that.
I did. I was actually pondering why it was that Jesus could heal so phenomenally. Why it was that he could heal, and why it seemed that we were sort of hit and miss. That's what I was thinking about. And it occurred to me that people came to Jesus with their law of attraction, from that place of their law of attraction, from their negative experience and the pattern of their thinking, which created a withered arm or blindness. And Jesus, who came from a higher law, from I'm suspecting the law of intention, and even a greater law than that, the law of pure truth, Jesus could heal because people came with their drama and with their belief systems, but Jesus only saw the truth. And the law of attention, so I was thinking about this a couple weeks ago, and I was thinking, I've really been pondering this since then. The thing about the law of attraction is that without realizing it, we're constantly creating an experience of the law of intention, and we may not be aware of the nuances that are involved in the law of attraction. And I just think there's a lot of drama in it. When we think about the law of attraction, the law of cause and effect, there's a cause, there's an effect, a cause and effect, and there can be a lot of drama. With the law of intention, I think it's clean, I think it's clear, and I think it's true. Because we're making a choice from a highest level of consciousness. We're making a decision. This is what I choose. This is what I want. Bring it on. Bring it now. The law of intention, the story that you told about Steven Spielberg. He was coming from the law of intention. He wasn't coming from the law of attraction. He was clear, and he created what he believed in.
Yeah, exactly. It makes me right. And what I heard you say earlier in the show is that before you engage the law of attraction, the law of intention, that those were those points, the points that you made. We have to get clear on those. Yeah.
Yes, the strength of your desire to thrive and succeed, the right use of will, unbiased clarity, which is paramount. You have to really understand what's going on in your mind and in your emotions. And the last is your ability to control fear. From there, that's when you set the law of intention in action.
Fantastic. Well, it's actually time to wrap up the show. So I'm going to ask you each for some parting words, which you'd like to tell us. Barbara?
Oh, gee, sum it up in a quick word. Just to know that we're immersed in an atmosphere of love, and what we need to know, we're always being led to find out. So whoever is listening today are benefiting from what we've heard.
Thank you. Fantastic. And Reverend Jeannie?
You know, it's not about us. It's not about us. We are here to serve. And the whole reason why I am so intent upon thriving is so that we can be of earthly good. To me, it's not about manifesting the couch and all that stuff. It's there. The couches will come or whatever. It's about our ability to serve life.
Gosh, I love that. Our ability to serve life. You know, I taught value clarification with Dr. Marlene Oakes, and we taught it over actually in Moscow. And that was one of my highest values, was making a difference in the world. And it just feels really good to have you both here with me, knowing that we are imparting spiritual truths and spiritual ideas that it can empower, inspire, and uplift people to live a rewarding, productive, peaceful life. So I thank you so much for joining us. Reverend Jeannie Sweet from the Helena Center of Creative Living. And the web address is the Helena Center, thehelenacenter.org. I invite you to join us next week on Thursdays. All the shows are archived. You can go to madhousetv.com or Ustream TV. Ustream, like you're going down a river. Ustream TV, and in the search box, type Spirituality Rocks, and you'll see an abundance of shows that we had. Remember to tune in next week live Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. for this show. But I want to invite you to watch this coming Saturday morning is Frank Prince, and Corrine Yolano Firestone is going to be on. And every Monday night, I love watching the Maverick Soul Hour with Tommy Marr. And this week he's having Parita. I don't know Parita's last name. Parita Wilson? Parita Kitson is going to be on. That girl can sing. So look for us on Facebook. Look for Spirituality Rocks. I'm Janine Burns. You can find me on Facebook if you need to get in touch with me. My number is 516-909-0103. Don't forget to send us a self-addressed stamped envelope at Post Office Box 472 in Woodbury, New York, and we will send you more information about Spirituality Rocks. See you next week.